Peace up, A-Town. Yeah. Okay. Usher, 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 usher. Lil Jon. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh my god, it's a 4-2-5 defense. All you gotta do is blitz more. All they gotta do is fire Aaron Glenn, and then they can start winning again. They're so stupid.
Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. I knew we could have won state, man. I know I came in a little bit overweight, but I'm going to do much better next time. One pride, let's go. Woo!
Sell the team, bro. Sell the team. 1957. Ain't won shit since 1957. And you need to sell the team. Ain't never gonna do nothing. Same old lines.
If there's any haters in here right now that don't have nobody to hate on, feel free to hate on me. Sit back there and say my hair ain't luxurious when you know it is, bitch.
Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win.
You ever meet somebody and they're so boring you feel like they poisoned you? Like,
here's the thing though, what I've been doing is 3:30 every morning. That's I get up and I do my sprints. Yeah, I mean those are prime sprinting hours. People don't realize, and that's how I know I'm succeeding, is if I'm doing my sprints while everyone else is asleep. It's a winning mindset is what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Hail to the king, baby.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
I say more dumb things before 9 a.m. than most people say all day.
There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifati Malafanu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.
Robert in the house. Ricky's in the house. La, 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 la. Yeah, the first Yeah. Oh, man, that's an old promo right there. Welcome on, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen. It is Football Talk with your host, Russell Wayne. And here we are. It is season number 3 right here, and we are officially into the off season. Oh, gosh, I'm so excited to be into the off season. My name is Russell Wayne, and we are broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions news. And that is the news podcast right here What's up? Can you hear me? Yes. And 75,000 people. Good job, Joe Chap and the boys doing their thing over there. We are broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions Villains Squad, where we have eclipsed 45,000 villains. And yeah, it feels good to know that we are having a whole bunch of you guys take this journey with us, including some Packer fans and some Viking fans and some Bears fans, and my compadre, Main Event Mike. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Russ.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It feels weird to say that, man. It's going to take me a minute to kind of get used to this thing right here. But yeah, we're officially into the off season, and we appreciate everybody that's out there liking this content, that's out there sharing this content, and just putting your little finger on that like button, especially if you're a football fan. Now, if you were looking for that knitting channel and you stumbled across this, you don't have to like the program or anything like that. Just move on to your knitting. But if you are a football fan, then you have definitely came to the right place right here. And we got a good show in store for you right here and right now. We're going to be talking a little bit about our free agent pickup. We got a guy from the CFL. We want to know which loss was the loss that hurt the most. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about some blowing up conversations, as well as the biggest off-season decision for each team. Mike, where would you like to start, Mike?
Let's talk about that conversation that's blowing up.
Right off the bat, he's going right in there, right there. This conversation's blowing up. Talk about it.
It's overtime. Niners win the toss in the Super Bowl. They elect to have the ball first. They take it down. They're not able to score a touchdown. Instead, it's 4th and 2, I believe. 4th and 2 or 4th and 3. You could see they're from the 10-yard line? So they could still even get a first down even. But they choose they opt for the field goal, a 27-yarder. Moody puts it right through. They go up 3. In overtime, Kyle Shanahan said, "You don't know what can happen. We wanted to take the ball. Who knows? Maybe they turn the ball over. Maybe we can stop them. They don't get a touchdown. They only get a field goal. Maybe they miss a field goal. There's so many things that could happen. He wanted to take the sure thing. He took the points, and we just put it up on the Villain Squad. You can see the caption there: 100. Dan would have went for it here." And overnight, it got over 6,000 engagements. Over 2,000 comments overnight. So, I mean, obviously, this is just something you and I talk about in our pre-production call, right? We're just talking, he would have definitely went for it there.
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, when you look at that, man, I wanted to get this up there, right there, just so you can kind of see. I don't know if you can see that. Is that coming up? Right. No, I got to move the thing out of the way. Okay, right here. I mean, this is it right inside of the page right there. You can go to the page right there and, obviously like and follow the page. But the first thing in our featured section right there, hop on there and join the conversation. That's the main thing I want to be able to get across with that is like, yeah, these are our conversations. Actually, these are your conversations if you are part of the Villain Squad. And we want to give you the opportunity to do that.
And for this exercise here on this particular show, if you're out there in the comments, if you're one of the people watching, I noticed that you haven't hit the like emoji yet. So reach down and hit like, first of all, on whatever platform you're watching on. But we want to know what you think. If let's say that it was 4th and 3 from the 10 in overtime, does Dan Campbell go for it there? Patrick Mahomes going to come back on you. He's only got to get in field goal range if you don't get it. So
right.
I think 100% Dan goes for it, and he comes out of there with a touchdown. That's my opinion. Put it in the comments. Let us know what you think. Also, head on over to that page and argue with someone in the comments, because there's a lot of people talking smack about your coach in there, guys. Want you to know, yeah, Dan would have went for it, got stopped, and we lost anyway. You'll find that in there many times.
I love it. It's like the people that hate Dan going for it. They're like, man, I only like it when he goes for it when he gets it. And it's like, come on, guys, right there. And absolutely, he would have went for it. And why wouldn't you? Like, think about that, guys. Here the San Francisco 49ers from what, the 4-6 yard line or whatever that was, they had a chance to throw the knockout punch and decided to play it safe, take the points, because I don't want to lose right now. I don't want to not get it and let them go down and just get a field goal, right? But they had a chance they drew their hand all the way back and went, Instead, like, I mean, you had a chance to knock them out. You had them reeling. Oh, at the 6 yard line, you got one more shot at. And what happens if you miss? Whatever. Patrick Mahomes gets to go down and do what he did anyway. Was kick your ass. You had a chance to put him away, and you didn't. So for all of you Dan Campbell haters right here, by the way, to go up by 3 points, they foregone a 4th down and 3 where they could have tied the game. Instead, they went for it. And by the way, George Kittle got that, and no one's going to talk about that. That was the exact same thing that Dan Campbell did. But they got it. So, Shanahan's he's a freaking genius. Well, they went up. And then Jake Moody, your 3rd round pick, missed an extra point to leave it at 3. So don't give me that crap right there. I mean, he did make some they broke the record in the Super Bowl.
Blocked.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Okay. But what I'm saying is you had a chance to go and put it away, and you didn't. You did it to go up 3, to put them into the position where they had to kick the field goal to go to overtime, but you go all the way down in overtime. The only way that you can win on that first possession is to score a touchdown, and you wussied out.
No, even and this is what the players said. If the Niners would have scored a touchdown, the Chiefs still would have had a possession. They still would have been able to tie the game with a touchdown. But the Chiefs players said that Andy Reid told them, if that happens, we're going to go for 2 to win the game. So I really wish Shanahan would have went for the touchdown. And then Mahomes comes back, gets another touchdown, and then the drama really would have unfolded because the Chiefs would have gone for 2 to win or lose the Super Bowl. You can't make that shit up. That
right.
Goal.
So the new rule is that the touchdown no longer wins.
Correct.
Then, huh?
Correct.
Okay.
That was new rules for the playoffs in 2023. And guess what? None of the 49er players knew that either, Russell. Don't feel bad. They didn't know. Right. They came right out and said, we didn't even know. It makes me wonder if Kyle Shanahan even knew. Maybe he was kicking that field goal thinking he was going to win the game.
Oh, no. I know that he didn't think he was going to win the game.
There were San Francisco 49er players who said they thought they were kicking the field goal to win the game, and that their coach had never said anything about the new overtime rules. And then the Chiefs players came out and said, oh, we heard about it every day. Every week we were told about the new overtime rules. So those are those intangible things, right? Those are those things that aren't X's and O's. Those are
right.
The intangible things that separate you. And man, what drama there. I mean, had he gone for that on 4th down, it would, Dan would have done that, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and it would have been tied.
Everybody in the comments is agreeing. Dan would have went for that.
He would have definitely went for it. Now, the second question to that, guys, is put the tagline on that, whether you thought that would have been a good move. Now, just because you're admitting that Dan Campbell would go for it, it doesn't mean that you think it's a good move. Do you think it's a good move to go for it at that point? Do you feel like they missed an opportunity? Now, I'm not going to stand as hard as I did because I didn't know about that second rule being changed. But I'm like, it would blow my mind if they didn't know that you're not kicking a field goal, because that's been that way for years. Like this new playoff rule where they can go in and win with a touchdown. That's new, that part of it. So I guess from that point, I give them a little bit more grace for not going for it at that point. But still, you got a chance to go up 7 points or make him drive 90 or, however many yards he needed to go get the field goal. I don't know. That's a great question. This is now I can see why it blew up the conversation blew up in there,
Fred says either way, the momentum shifts huge if the 49ers go down there and put up 7. So, yeah, If you go for it, I mean, I can't believe they even let it get to fourth down. The 2 plays before that, incomplete passes that Brock Purdy, it looked like he was throwing it away. I mean, Patrick Mahomes on those two downs ahead of that fourth down, he would have made some magic happen. He would have went for something other than
right. I mean,
some
look what they
pass
did.
that falls in the corner of the end zone with no one there around it. I can't believe they even let it get to fourth down in that situation.
And what I don't also get is like when you're pounding it down in that area, you got the best running back in the league. Why wouldn't you try to run it 2 times in that position? You know, run it right through, less risk. You're not stopping clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that was only overtime, but it actually came down to the last seconds in that first overtime series. So if they would have used more clock, it would have made it even more impossible for them to go down and do what they needed to do.
Especially when you've got Christian McCaffrey and you're down there in the end zone. Why wasn't second down a play to McCaffrey? Why was it third down a play to McCaffrey? None of them were. So then on fourth down, give it to him. And if he doesn't get it, like Jordan says here, if you don't get it, you leave the ball inside the 10-yard line for the other team.
Right.
And all they've got to do, though, is go down and kick a field goal and they win the game. So that's the rub.
So is that you went through, you grabbed some of those comments on there? I mean,
just on a couple. Robert, our Packer fans, got some good ones in here too. He says that Shanahan went away from the run. He's a choker. And then he said he agreed with Shanahan. So he's talking out of both sides of his mouth, apparently.
Yeah, he doesn't. Robert wants to blame the whole loss of the San Francisco on Dan Campbell, but he wants to give Shanahan grace because he made it to the Super Bowl. So it's like, yeah, you gotta kind of go with whatever your philosophy is, right? And one thing about Dan is he didn't ever really go against the grain of who he was in this, and Shanahan probably really didn't either. He was probably more, let's go take the points kind of guy, you know, grind it out with, you know, taking your definite points. And Dan's the opposite of that. Mm-hmm. But
Fanman says, doesn't the clock in playoff overtime just keep resetting to 15 minutes until we have a winner? Yes, it's treated like just like a quarter in the game. So, but no, in the same time,
isn't it another?
I mean, that's why there was still time on the clock when Kansas City scored. Each team gets a possession.
Right, but it's not.
If neither team scores, it keeps going.
But to be correct on that, that is not the same as the end of a quarter, because when they go to the end of the second overtime, you're going to be flipping a coin again, going to another overtime where you're not just giving the possession over. So no, that is not the same.
Right. But to what he's saying, it does reset and keep going until we have a winner under those rules.
But it's a brand new game.
Possession.
It's like a third. You'd be going to a third game. You played your first game and it was a tie. And if it goes to the end of the second game and a tie again, then you're starting a third sequence that starts completely over with a coin flip and everything. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
You're right. You are right. And there's even a timeout period, like a halftime period between those quarters too. So,
right,
absolutely right. Yeah.
So throw that up there.
I think everybody agrees, though. Dan would have went for it right there.
We're going to buy the kneecap.
You know it is right here. So that's going to conclude that first topic right there, because we're a quarter of the way through right here. So make sure you go in there and join this conversation. Put your comment onto that part right there onto the page. That's sitting right there. So you go to the Lions Villain Squad. It's the first thing. It's right in the featured section. I want you to put your conversation right in there. So moving on. So now that we got that one finished off right here, we were talking about offseason. Let's get to some news. I'm going to call this one out right here. The Lions signed a CFL standout. This guy was actually the defensive player of the year in the CFL, Matthew Batts. A defensive lineman. What do you think of this signing, Mike?
Yeah, he's an edge rusher, actually. He's an edge. He had 18 sacks last year. He was the rookie of the year in 2022. He did have a tryout after college. He got drafted and undrafted. He came in as an undrafted free agent to the Chicago Bears, and he did not make the team. But we know how the Bears are at evaluating talent. So I don't think that's really an indication.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, if he's the defensive player of the year, even if they did evaluate him and he wasn't that good yet, he obviously went to the CFL, got some good coaching and everything, and was a standout player there. Does that move? One question I just want to ask to everybody on this as we're getting out there, where does this stand to you? I mean, does this move the needle for you on a scale of 1 to 10? I mean, how far does this move the needle? Is this just another body? Or is this something that you actually believe that he could come in and make an impact on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson? Throw that into the comments while we're talking about it. What do you think, Mike?
I think it's very interesting. He was voted the CFL Defensive Player of the Year. That's like Myles Garrett of the CFL. Okay, plays the same position as well. All right. So, yes, I think it's very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if the very best player from the Canadian Football League
we're going to buy the kneecap
make
ball
it onto an NFL roster at the bottom of the roster. I mean, it really is going to be a testament to the talent level that they have in Canada. We always make fun of it a lot, but a lot of people who defend the Canadian Football League say, oh, they do just as good in the NFL, which we all laugh at, of course. But, you know, they are very ardent on their point of view that these players are every bit as good as NFL players. So, some people are, but I will say it's intriguing to me because he was the best of the best in Canada. So he could be a contributing member of this football team.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to me, and where I'll put my scale at about a 6 right now. Like, if he makes the team, that to me is a cool thing. You know, just a good story, just another guy that Brad Holmes finds just off the trash heap or whatever, using every resource available to him to improve the talent on this roster. And he's done a fantastic job at that. And who would we be to like second guess Brad Holmes on a guy that he sees on the outside of that? I mean, so I love the signing.
Yeah. Besides that, look who's in our defensive end room. Who's there? Kaminsky, Aiden Hutchinson, of course, James Houston, Josh Pascal. Those aren't marquee names. There's a chance this kid could beat any of those guys out.
Sure. Yeah. And you never know. And those guys too are hungry and young as well. The James Houston, Josh Pascal, maybe not, maybe a guy like Kaminsky gets squeezed out a little bit on that, but none of those guys were bad. They weren't awful, but they're not moving the needle. Josh Pascal's he's a good player, but he's not moving the needle. Aiden Hutchinson's a plus player where all those other guys are, they're not going to embarrass you. They're not going to be the one that's going to be but they're just solid dudes, 75 overall. If you're looking Madden type of stuff, just, not awful. They're not going to embarrass you. They're not going to be a 50 overall and just get completely stood up. So maybe this guy can be it.
I saw one report where they said the Lions brought him in for a workout last year too. So the Lions have already seen a guy. They've already had him on their radar. And like Jordan says, would they even sign him if they didn't see him contributing? Trust the process. That's a great call out, Jordan, because, hey, they looked at him last year. They didn't forget about him. There must have been something there for him to still be on their radar. And like Jordan says, trust the process. We trust Brad Holmes. He's the wizard. So I think there's something to this. I think this might be one of those things that flies under the radar, but might be huge. Look for Matthew Betts. I can't wait till preseason. I've never said that in my life. Preseason football, we're going to see Hendon Hooker take a snap on the field in the preseason. That's only in August, folks. That's not far away.
Right.
And then we're going to get to see this guy in a preseason game. So we'll know a lot more. This could be a bigger deal than it might look like on the surface.
Well, we're definitely going to keep it right in the forefront. Especially it's the biggest news this part of the off season because there's nothing going on right now. We got, 7 days until the transition tags and you're able to franchise tags players. That's part of our big off-season thing, and we're covering it all, guys. Like we're here for the long haul. During the entire off-season. Let me see if I'm trying to find my thing, and I can't find my thing. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. Our 365-day schedule right there, starting on February 20th, the franchise tag and transition players. So this is the biggest news. I mean, what else can you really do? So, interesting. Anything in the comments? Anybody got moving the needle?
Evans says it was a good move because there are some good players in the CFL. Fred says it helps, but I can't make a decision until I see him play. CFL players have been very up and down in the NFL. That's absolutely true.
Right.
Look at a guy like Warren Moon, though, who's an all-time great.
Right. And you're looking at this isn't just a CFL player that was just playing on a roster. This was the best CFL player that they had on defense.
And speaking of under the radar news, I don't know if anybody noticed, but when I was reading about Matthew Betts, I learned something, and I'll share it with you now. The greatest football team in Canadian Football League history is or was the Edmonton Eskimos. They won multiple Grey Cups. I believe they won 4 Grey Cups in a row. The Edmonton Eskimos, well, they were under the pressure of political correctness, just like the Washington Redskins. They have now changed their name from the Edmonton Eskimos to the Edmonton Elks. This is the equivalent, folks, of the Dallas Cowboys changing their name. So that's kind of just interesting, not really related to what we're talking about, but I really thought that was interesting that Eskimo was considered a derogatory term for Native American Canadians. So Native Canadians, I don't know what they call
man. I mean,
I'm just going to tread out of this water now before I say something really dumb.
Well, I mean, if you don't want to tread out of that in the comments right there, I mean, what do you think about the cancel culture of this? And the question I'll ask, so I don't put too much water in my holy boat right here, is, do you think that these name changes, let's just say 20 years from now, do you think they're going to look back on this and say, gosh, they were really soft and they now we've evolved to this better thing? Or do you think this is going to get worse before it gets better? That's crazy, right?
We stay away from politics on this show. That's for sure.
Okay.
But I can tell you that Redskin is different than Brave. Redskin is different than Chief. Okay, because those are names that the American Indians gave themselves. They called their own guys Brave. They called their own guys Chief. They didn't call each other Redskins. That was a derogatory term made by white people for an Indian. So I get where that one came in. But, that's why we haven't seen the Braves or the Chiefs change their name. But I'll never understand the Cleveland Indians changing it to Guardians. That one I don't understand because Indian, I didn't think was a derogatory term, but
it's well, The Rock says this. The Rock says we're going to stay away from all the politics and we should know our role and stick to football. And
well, you know what I think about that, Rock, is I think lob it up there for you. It doesn't matter what you think.
It doesn't matter what you think. The Rock says, know your role. Know your role before I take my shoe off, turn that sumbitch sideways, and stick it straight up your candy ass. Gosh, Rock, that's kind of for one, you're getting slow in your old day in your old age. I don't know if you can really do the things you used to do.
Acknowledge me.
So Matthew Betts signed to a futures contract, going to be on the practice squad. Canadian Defensive Player of the Year. We'll see in training camp if he sticks. It will be certainly interesting.
All right, so let's switching up right here. Let's move on to right here. And this is something we talked about a little bit earlier, and I did end up throwing the Baltimore on there anyway. So we're talking about, obviously, the worst loss is the last loss. So we're not going to talk about the San Francisco 49ers, but during the regular season, which of the Lions' losses hurt you the most? Mike, and you can go first.
Well, I was going to say Green Bay till I realized Robert was in the comments. I just don't want to give him any ammunition, but absolutely it was for me. It was Thanksgiving. It was Green Bay Packer game. That first play to Christian Watson, the bomb to Christian Watson, and in that first quarter, they went up 20-6. We did outscore them 16-9 down the stretch, but we were having so much fun going on that winning streak against the Packers, counting the days and having a counter on our site and everything and running. Oh, you haven't beat us in 4 games. and then to have it come crashing down on our game, Thanksgiving. That's the Lions game. Okay, that's our national stage. So yeah, for me, the Dallas game. Look, I know the Dallas game. A lot of people are going to guess the Dallas game, but we all looked at that one as an L at the beginning of the year.
Well,
I think the Ravens game, we penciled that one in as an L.
Wait a minute. Man, you just came in and stomp all over mine and start telling me why mine don't work.
Yeah, for me, it's Thanksgiving.
Okay. All right. Now, since you've already shit on mine right here, the Dallas Cowboys was that for me, and it was. I mean, come on, man. It comes down to the last play of the game. The Green Bay Packers just beat us. I mean, to me, it hurts. Which game hurts the most? What hurts my ego the most? Maybe the Green Bay game, but the one that hurt the absolute most is obviously.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
The significance of what happened in Dallas alone to me is the worst feeling in the world, because here's the fact of the matter is, The Rock says this, the fact of the matter is, the Lions win that game, then that San Francisco game is being played in Ford Field. And there ain't no way that San Francisco team was whooping us in Ford Field. We would have been in the Super Bowl if it wasn't for the Dallas Cowboys. So that one hurts me way more, in my opinion. But what is that for you? What is that for you? Which game hurt you the most? Because those are our two, but you could say Seattle. I mean, you're coming right off of that. You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson bringing in the villain masks. We're about ready to take the world, or we just beat the world.
They had the ball at the end of regulation. He should have went for it, but he didn't. He kicked the field goal, went into overtime, lost on the first drive. Right. Yep. That just shows you right there is exactly why he would have went for it in the Super Bowl had he been in that position, because I wanted him to go for it then, and he didn't. He played to not lose in that game, and that one hurt too. But that was week 2, right? That was week 2. That's so long ago.
But it hurt because he brought the villain masks out. Everybody got fired up about it, and then it was just kind of like a joke for a couple weeks of the villain thing. I mean, I thought that was going to kill us, but the fans, they just kept on going out and wearing those stupid masks, right? Like, that wasn't the reason we called this the villain squad. I thought that was an idiotic way to do it. Put ski masks on villains like they're pulling up to you on at a stoplight and robbing you. I'm like, I don't want to be a villain like that. Yeah. I want to be a classy villain like this guy right here. That's why our Lions wear suits. Because we're going to take care of a couple things. We might not do the things that you want to do all the time, but, we're doing our thing in the way we want to do it, right? So I think of more like 50s gangsters with a little bit of class. So that one hurt.
For Jordan, it's the Ravens. Shut out for 3+ quarters, never even got in that game. Scott echoes that, the way we got slapped around by the Ravens. But the way that we got slapped around by them it was over after the first quarter. Like, the sting wore off quick because we just moved on by halftime. We were already looking at the next game.
Yeah, they had no chance. It wasn't
no chance in that game. Yeah, that
was. And what do we know, Mike? I mean, here we are. Like, we were talking about it this morning. Yeah, we probably shouldn't even put the Ravens on there, man. The other ones hurt so much more. And the first 2 comments that come in from our gallery is, it's the Ravens because they whipped our ass. So I'll never second guess. I'll never just assume anymore, because that does hurt. Getting whooped like that. I went to that game, drove all the way to Baltimore, and I got to talk shit for about 3.5 minutes. And then I'm like, yeah, these guys are turning around and they're giving us shit. And by the second quarter, they're buying us beers and telling us it's going to be okay. Like, and that's pretty good. You go to Baltimore and all these nice fans are buying us beers, and these are $22 beers, guys. This isn't like, going and buying a $1.50 beer at the pub. I mean,
and for me, the Green Bay game hurts more, not because it's Green Bay, but not just because it was Green Bay, not just because it was Thanksgiving. It's a division game. So that Chicago game hurt too. Remember, Aiden Hutchinson lined up off sides.
Yep.
or was offsides on the play, and they got a free play, and they threw a touchdown to DJ Moore. That was horrible. There were so many things that went wrong in that game, and they still couldn't put us away until we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot.
Right.
It would have been nice to sweep the Bears the way we swept the Vikings. It would have been nice to sweep the Packers. Both of those two games hurt for me more than the other three because of the division implications.
And right there, what you just said is the reason that it doesn't hurt me the most, because it's division, man. Like, whenever you're playing in the division, it's like, it is hard in this league to sweep a team in the division, just because them so good. They know every little thing that you just tried. And we played both of those teams, or at least the Chicago. It was like back to back. It almost seemed like we had to play our teams like close to each other, all of the division games. So it's like, they just remember. And if you lose that first game, it's so hard to go in there and win that second game, especially a couple weeks later. Mm-hmm. But it does. That one hurts your ego a lot, especially when we had those sweet, the count up. We had a good streak going. We would be still on it right now. And Robert would be throwing a hissy fit in the comments. Instead, he gets to.
And the Bears were really, they were beat down. We scored 9 points in 3 minutes or something at the end of to come back and win at Ford Field. When that game got to Chicago, they were not having it, man. They played really hard in that game.
And they did, and that's it. And kudos to the other teams, and that's a good transition for us to go into these biggest offseason decisions for each one of these teams, because we are in the offseason now, guys. Mm-hmm. And I don't know which one you want to start with, Mike, but what do you think? Biggest offseason decision for each one of these teams.
I'll put those 4 helmets back up there. Those 4 logos up there. I think 2 of these, it's the quarterback. And for 2 of these, it's the defense, right? Green Bay Packers got a new defensive coordinator. The fans got their wish. Joe Barry is gone. So now you have a guy who comes from Boston College, Hafley. He was the head coach at Boston College, whose defense ranked last in their conference, who averaged 31 points put up against him on his defense at Boston College in a weak-ass ACC conference. Not real encouraging, in my opinion. It was announced yesterday that they're also, in Hafley's defense, they're going to switch to a 3-4 defense, which we know the 4 down linemen on the defensive front for the Green Bay Packers was the strength of that defense. So for me, it's the defense there. For the Lions, I also think it's the defense. We know it's cornerback, defensive line, free agent, draft. We're going to try to bolster those parts. And the Vikings not retaining Kirk Cousins. What are they going to do at quarterback? And year after year after year, the Chicago Bears' biggest offseason decision is what to do about the quarterback position. So that's them in a nutshell for me, Russ.
Okay, well, I agree with you, especially when it comes to the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. You got to figure out what you're doing at quarterback. It may be a little bit easier for the Vikings, especially if they just go ahead and try to get Cousins back and do that Band-Aid, but I don't think they're going to do that. So it is definitely, what are you doing at the quarterback position? And it is the utmost importance for the Chicago Bears, because if you are moving on from Justin Fields, are you going to trade him? Are you not going to trade him? Those are definitely the questions. Green Bay Packer wise, they got a young team that, like, I think that they have a lot in common with the Lions on that part where, you do have a good young quarterback that we were wrong about. And we've been on here talking about that. And defensively, you're looking at Hafley, and, I don't want to crap on. Yeah, I do want to crap on the signing because it's Matt LaFleur's buddy. Okay. You didn't get it. You didn't get the job because you were so good at defense that everybody was knocking down your door. No, you got Matt LaFleur's buddy. And I don't know how well that works. It hasn't worked well for what they do in Detroit. Cause when was it Patricia that brought in his little buddy from like like Penn State or something like that, a defensive coordinator that nobody knew about, and then he was gone. I don't even remember what his name was. But that buddies don't work. But buddies don't work. He isn't going to all of a sudden learn how to play defensive coordinator. So right here is your defensive coordinator. So he's going to have to put the whole game plan together right there, because I don't know if you're going to trust a guy that's never done it. So on the Lions side, to me, I think it's the opposite of that. You got Jared Goff that's going into the last year, and his deal is going to expire. Obviously, the biggest decision is, are you going to re-sign him? You're going to let him play out that contract and franchise tag him if you need to? Is that the game you're going to play? Oh, and then the biggest one really is you got to sign Amon-Ra St. Brown this offseason. To me, you do not want to let that linger into the season, going into the last year. You don't want to be doing contracts during training camp. Going in there, you want to give this man his bag, because he is everything that Dan Campbell embodies as far as grit and everything like that. And I understand you got to go out and get some defensive help. And I'm sure that Brad Holmes has all of that on his radar, but you got to get these deals done. These big deals with that $60 million. I don't want you going out and signing a bunch of these free agents from other teams that don't know about the culture. Get your own guys, keep your own guys. I think that's the most important thing.
You ready for me to do something controversial, Russ? Ken Doby says the QB. Well, at first he says, LOL. The QB choice at Chicago is a no-brainer. They are keeping Fields. It's how much do they get to trade out of one or draft MHJ? Ken Doby, I will make a wager with you if you want. The Chicago Bears will draft a quarterback in the first round of this upcoming draft. That is my stake in this wager. If you're telling me that they're not going to draft a quarterback in the first round, I mean, we don't even have to say whether they keep Fields or trade him or whether they get Marvin Harrison Jr. Just that they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round, I'd be willing to wager. You let me know what the stakes are. Maybe I got to wear a Bears shirt or something. I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure something out. Let me know if you're game, unless you're yellow.
Yeah, well, the only problem I have with his comment is the LOL part, where it's like, is this just common knowledge? Go to a Bears chat, Ken.
Right.
Go to a Bears chat and tell me if every Bear fan feels like you right now. Just because you have a strong opinion on it, Ken, doesn't mean that everybody on planet Earth feels that way. And we ain't even clowning. This isn't us clowning your franchise. This is us looking at your franchise and saying, hey, right here, this has been the problem for your team for the last 150 years. Even during your Super Bowl win, Jim McMahon wasn't that good. Mm-hmm. It's like, you have not had a good quarterback.
Mitch Trubisky released by the Steelers yesterday. That's me clowning the Bears.
And you're looking at this. You're looking at this, and you want to have your quarterback of the future. If you believe in Fields, that's fine. Here's the reality of the Fields. You keep Fields, you draft your guys, right? You get a whole bunch of young talent. You get Marvin Harrison Jr. You're going to have to pay Fields $60 million if this works. Next year, you're going to have to pay this guy. So are you willing to do that? Or are you willing to pay him in the fifth year option, which is in the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, which means, guess what? $60 million, maybe $55 million, maybe $50 million. Are you willing to make that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Investment.
A commitment to Justin Fields, who hasn't figured out how to throw the ball yet. So that's fine. I mean, if you want to LOL me, that's fine. That's cool. Is Fields the guy, or do you draft a guy? Because the other part is you keep Fields and you draft your guy.
That's option C.
So I think that's the most interesting thing for the Chicago Bears. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. I'm not going to be like, well, I think they might need a linebacker or they might need an offensive. That's not interesting. That sucks. It's the quarterback. It's been the quarterback. You passed up on CJ Stroud. You passed up on Patrick Mahomes.
It's my quarterback.
Come on, man. We've been playing this game the entire existence of the Chicago Bears. You got to break those trends.
So there it is, Ken. It's a challenge. It's a wager. If you're willing to accept the challenge, I believe the Bears will draft a first-round quarterback.
But I do put validity into what Ken's saying, because there is the other half of those chats that don't want Justin Fields. Guess what? They want Justin Fields. The other half, they're die hard for Justin Fields. They're like, oh, that's the stupid, like, Ken, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would you draft a quarterback when you could just fill the rest of the roster up with all these picks? Okay. That's one. That's good. That's fair.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
What? Wait.
It's my quarterback.
My bad. Wrong one.
Fred says the Bears stay with Fields. They now will be called the New York Bears because Chicago will have their own Daniel Jones. Only you'll have to pay Justin more than Daniel Jones.
Yeah, they're going to have to pay him, man. That's the thing. That if I'm a Bear fan, which, God, I can't even get that stink off me. But I would be thinking the same way. Like I'm vicariously living through that eye. And I can do that because that's fun, what you guys get to do, which is pick number 1 and pick number 9. That's fun. And 2 second-round picks. This is fun if you're a Bear fan, right? I mean, this is what you dream for with your Madden franchises. You trade off all of the good players and get draft picks, and then you simulate the season, and that way you get to the draft and you get to pick your own guys. This is fun. I get it. But you got to take that quarterback, in my opinion.
If you were a Bears fan, Russ, you'd have to say, bear down.
Oh, no. Help.
Barry Drent here in the comments says Williams says he won't play for them. That's actually been debunked, Barry. He never said that. In fact, Colin Cowherd got in big trouble for it, for saying it. It's a totally unsubstantiated rumor. There's no truth to it at all. In fact, Caleb Williams changed his profile picture on social media of him in as a little guy with a bear on his t-shirt. So it's been debunked. But I got to jump off. God bless each and every one of you. This is Main Event Mike. Peace out.
Oh, that is Main Event Mike. Look at that. He hears the music. He don't like that background music anyway. But that's good cue. That's a good cue for us because we got through all of our topics today. I thought we did well today. Mike did an awesome job. Thank you to Main Event Mike. Thank you to all you listeners. The ones that are listening, the ones that are watching on YouTube, the ones that are watching on Detroit Lions News podcast right there, and the ones that are watching on the Villain Squad. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody for watching and doing that thing. I'm gonna get into these last comments right here. No second round pick. Williams, Ken says that that's going to be a second round pick. They're going to use a second round pick on a quarterback. Ken believes in Justin Fields. Do you believe in Justin Fields as a Bear fan? Do you believe in Justin Fields as not a Bear fan? Like if you're not a Bear fan, you don't believe in Justin Fields, you're like, yeah, keep him. Let's go. That Williams thing was debunked. Yeah, they don't. I mean, Williams. Here's the thing, man. The guy gonna play in the NFL. These guys are gonna play in the NFL. So unless you're, a royal family like the Mannings, not too many people are gonna crap on a team. So that was debunked. You don't have a second round pick. Oh, we traded it for Sweat. I thought you guys got an extra second round pick for the trade to Carolina. You didn't get a second round pick? Or was that last year's? Maybe I was wrong on that. So no second round pick. No second round pick for the Bears? Definitely Ken would know. 2025 second round pick. Okay. So no second round pick for the Bears, but they got the 2 first round picks. I believe that, if they do believe in Justin Fields, that they will trade out of that number 1 pick. If they don't believe in Justin Fields, I saw a trade proposed out there where they would move up from 9 to 3 with New England and trade Justin Fields for that. I don't know what Justin Fields would be worth on the open market, what people think of him. I would think they'd be able to get at least a 2nd-round pick out of him. If not, moving up in the top 10 like that. I think that's fair for a player like that, where you got to know or you don't know. Well, you know that you don't know. But this has been a fun episode today. Faith, family, and football. This is Football Talk with Russell Wayne. Faith, family, and football in that order. Right there. We appreciate everybody that hits our link up in there, the NTC, the giving link. We are able to do some great things in this Genesee County area right here. The outreach at my church is phenomenal. Pastor Kevin Galloway does a great job. So if you use that link, just know that these guys are going to be doing good things with it. The outreach is good. We believe in helping people that are less fortunate, and that's what happens with our outreach money. So we appreciate that. Faith, family, and football. The family and football, that's easy, guys. Here we are. We're talking about it. We're talking about our favorite teams. And then you spend time with your family. Use football. Spend extra time with your family. Create good moments. Don't let football use you. Don't turn into a butt when your team loses and all that, because now everybody but the Kansas City Chiefs are losers, and we're starting all the way over. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you till we meet again for Football Talk with Russell Wayne. God bless.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifeatu Melifonwu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.
It's not fair. They were so happy.